Hi, I'm Michael Wan, your host for Michael Wan's Op-Ed Live. Pelosi calls for articles of impeachment against Trump. That is a topic of today's Op-Ed Live. So The Hill reported this, that Pelosi says House will move to impeach President Trump. Well, it was expected, right? Democrats had nowhere else to go but to move for impeachment, or else they would have been embarrassed. So Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced today that the House will move forward with impeaching President Trump, saying his actions, as revealed by their weeks-long investigation, left them no choice but to pursue his removal from office. I think Nancy Pelosi previously said this might politically hurt the Democrats, and I believe that will happen come 2020. But they had no choice but to go this path when they started the impeachment probe, and if they would have decided, hypothetically, there's nothing to it, we're going to close this, it would have been a huge embarrassment for the Democrats. So, there's a saying that why interrupt an enemy when they're destroying themselves? I believe the Democrats are acting like enemies right now. They're doing something completely out of the norm. Our founding fathers never would have expected this kind of nonsense going on in Congress right now. So the move erases any lingering doubt, the Hill continues, the move erases any lingering doubt that Democrats view Trump's dealing with Ukraine as a severe violation of the Constitution, which I do not believe, by the way, and any question of whether they will take the next step of making him just the third president in the nation's history to be impeached. This is what Pelosi said. You can see her back there. The president's actions have seriously violated the Constitution. Our democracy is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act. Delivered on the August Speaker's balcony in the Capitol, Pelosi's announcement was not entirely unexpected, as Democrats have been charging ahead for weeks with their investigation into Trump's handling of foreign policy in Ukraine. On Wednesday, yesterday, the Judiciary Committee had staged its first hearing. I don't know whether you watched it. There were 4 professors, 3 completely left-wing lunatic professors out there saying, well, this is why Trump should be impeached. They already had a predetermined resolution to impeach Trump. They couldn't even fathom the thought of Trump being in the Oval Office, these 3 professors. And the other professor who thought this impeachment probe is wrong, by the way, he voted for Hillary, and he's a Democrat. But he said this whole thing is a nonsense, pretty much. That's what he said. So the Judiciary Committee had staged its first hearing to examine whether the evidence dug up by the weeks-long investigation of the Intelligence Committee merits impeachment. And many Democrats were expecting Judiciary Chairman Gerald Nadler, the lunatic Democrat from New York, to conduct more hearings on the topic. Okay. Pelosi today said there was no need. Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. Okay? And her use of chairman is notable. It means that Nadler will not draft the articles alone, but will have help from other committee heads involved in the process, almost certainly to include Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff, who's also from Los Angeles. Pelosi did not say when the articles will emerge or what charges they will contain, but Democrats on the Judiciary Committee forecast potential articles in Wednesday's hearing outlining the case that Trump abused his power by committing bribery, obstruction justice, and obstructing Congress. I think the things that they are accusing President Trump were actually done by them. It was the Democrats who bribed Ukraine, right? Joe Biden, when he was a vice president, he threatened that he's going to withhold $1 billion of foreign aid to Ukraine, which Ukraine desperately needed, by the way, at that time. So they decided not to investigate Hunter Biden's son, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, right? They were about to do a personal interview. The prosecutor, the Ukrainian prosecutor, was about to call on Hunter Biden and ask him some questions. But right before that, he was forced to fire the Attorney General in Ukraine. I'm talking about the then Ukrainian president. Why? Because of Biden, right? Isn't that quid pro quo, and isn't that bribery? Obstructing justice? This is already the fourth time they're doing this shenanigan. The first one was the FBI investigation, the whole Russia collusion thing. I believe FBI was in cahoots and fabricated together the Russia collusion nonsense narrative conspiracy theory with the Democratic Party, DNC, Democratic National Committee, and also Hillary Clinton campaign. Okay? They cooked this up. They hired Perkins Coie, law firm Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie hired Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS hired Great Britain, the British guy, former MI6 agent, Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele got this Steele dossier from Russians. So who colluded? They colluded with Russia, okay? And John Durham is investigating all this, and I think he's going to get to the bottom of it, and I think he will bring charges to the people who's responsible for this hoax, deceiving the American people for the past 3-4 years. They're going to be brought to justice. I believe that. And this Steele dossier, they couldn't even verify it, whether it's real or not. James Comey couldn't verify it. Christopher Steele couldn't verify it. Okay? It's all a hoax. And it was so heinous the way they tried to connect Trump with Russia. That's one route. There's another route that used Julian Assange. The second narrative is Julian Assange is a Russian agent. I do not believe that at all. I do not think that Julian Assange works for Russia. I have no evidence. There has been no evidence. And WikiLeaks has never, they never had a retraction, you know. They never, I mean, if there's any source you can believe 100%, close to 100%, it's WikiLeaks. Whether you agree with Julian Assange's decision to reveal all these classified information, that's up to debate. But WikiLeaks, they're saying that Julian Assange is a Russian agent. I don't think he is. Okay? I don't think he is. And by the way, Rudolph Giuliani, he believes Seth Rich was murdered. I also believe that it was Seth Rich, the DNC IT person, who was a Bernie Sanders supporter. But he probably did not like where the DNC was heading, trying to nominate Hillary Clinton, you know, even before all the primary elections. You know, it was pretty much all set, right? They have the super delegates, and I think he didn't like it. So he got into the emails of John Podesta. This is what I'm thinking, you know, what I guess. I think it was Seth Rich who got the email password code from John Podesta. He got inside John Podesta's Gmail account and revealed all that content out to the world. That's why the whole, you know what I'm talking about. All the shenanigans, not all the shenanigans, all the things that were exposed by WikiLeaks, you know. And that is where all the Democrats got so angry about. They say, like, all the things, all the contents that came out of John Podesta's email, it's a conspiracy theory. How could you say that it's a conspiracy theory when you're actually reading those emails in the WikiLeaks account? All the pedophilia there. I mean, I can't say for sure it's pedophilia, but any ordinary human being who would read those emails would probably conclude to the fact that probably there's something really fishy going on here, at least, you know. Right? I mean, you're supposed to live by the law of innocent till proven guilty. So I'm not going to, you know, convict them or these people who were involved in those emails, you know, talking about kids and stuff. But I'm asking, how come there's no investigation regarding that, right? And also the DNC email, right? Remember, Donna Brazile gave a question in advance about Flint, Michigan, the water issue there. She gave that questions to Hillary Clinton campaign in advance. How could you even, if Trump did that, it would have been front page news. But since Hillary did it, Hillary people did it, it wasn't. And many people still don't know that fact. Okay? And they're saying that it was Russia Julian Assange was working for Russia. That's why he got all this and then revealed to the world. I don't believe it. I believe that it was Seth Rich. He got shot. He's dead now in Washington, D.C. I think Rudolph Giuliani also raised that question again yesterday. There's a reason why. You can't just pigeonhole this as conspiracy theories, okay? If you have evidence backing you up, facts backing you up, then it's not a conspiracy theory. But what is a conspiracy theory is Trump-Russia collusion. That is a proven conspiracy theory, okay? It was proven by Robert Mueller too, right? By the way, yeah, so it was FBI. They used Julian Assange. It's more than 4 routes. FBI, Julian Assange, and also the CrowdStrike. By the way, Trump was talking about CrowdStrike, the security firm. CrowdStrike, they said it was the FBI actually who requested CrowdStrike to find out who hacked those emails. And it was CrowdStrike who said, no, it's not Seth Rich. They didn't say that. I mean, it's pretty much what they're implying. It's not Seth Rich. It is the Russians. It is the Russians. It was CrowdStrike. But if you look at the board members there, the people involved there, they are heavily Democrats. They donated a lot of money to Democrats. And you had Eric Schmidt there too. And by the way, Eric Schmidt wanted to be the campaign manager for the Hillary Clinton campaign. So I don't believe it. I don't believe them. And I wonder why FBI had to rely on a third party to find out who hacked those emails. Probably they just didn't want to be responsible about this whole thing, or they knew it in advance, so they knew that it wasn't Russia, but somebody had to say it was Russia. So that's why they asked CrowdStrike. Could be. Right? So you see the Steele dossier, right? First one, fake. That's a fake, proven fake Russia collusion. And Julian Assange, proven Russia collusion. By the way, it was WikiLeaks' Julian Assange who said when Seth Rich died, he put a $25,000 reward and say whoever have information regarding Seth Rich's death will give you this money. And he even said that people sometimes when they give these kind of information to WikiLeaks, they get into danger. That's what Julian Assange said during an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity, and he also said that with an interview with a German TV. Okay, so that's also fake. Okay, and the hacking from Russia, that's, I believe, a fake. And there's also a bunch of others like George Papadopoulos talking with Russians, or they were saying Joseph Mifsud, right? Joseph Mifsud. I think he was an Italian professor or something like that. He's MIA, by the way. He's missing right now. People don't know where he is right now. That he's a Russian agent. I don't think he's a Russian agent. It's their narrative. Now the mainstream media is saying, oh, no, it wasn't Joseph Mifsud who was a Russian agent. He was an intermediary person. I mean, they can't even decide on, who's Russian or not. So George Papadopoulos, he talked with that guy, Joseph Mifsud. That's why, they're saying, oh, they colluded, it's Russian. And George Papadopoulos is also colluding with Russia. That's what all the nonsense they're saying right now, the mainstream media. And also, it's not that. Carter Page too, right? They're both former aides for the Trump campaign, by the way. Carter Page also a Russian agent. That's what they're claiming. Really? Carter Page, who used to work for the FBI, by the way? I'm not saying he used to be an FBI agent, but he was working for, like an informant, I think, for the FBI. Carter Page, that he went to Russia, he's automatically a Russian. That doesn't make sense at all either, right? Carter Page was nothing but an excuse for the Democrats, mainstream media, and FBI to wiretap Trump campaign. That's also a hoax. So all this collectively, probably there's like 5-6 roots connect. They were trying, these deep state figures trying to connect Trump campaign with Russia. And now they're using the Ukraine scandal. And by the way, seems to be a lot of evidence that this whole Russia collusion fabrication thing happened actually, it was, somebody came up with that idea in Ukraine, okay? A lady named Shapula, right? But we're going too deep. But anyway, this whole Ukrainian scandal, this whole thing is a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of baloney, and it's tragic how things can go this, that it can be derailed like this much. I mean, it's kind of ashamed for the Democrats and the mainstream media to put out all these nonsense on a daily basis. So they're still they are still talking about Russia collusion to this day. To this day. Even though Robert Mueller said he couldn't find any evidence regarding Trump campaign and Russia collusion. It's just ridiculous. And Pelosi's, I'll continue with the Hill article, the Pelosi's announcement opens a fourth phase in the Democrats' hard-charging impeachment investigation, which they launched on September 24th. Okay. The Democratic leader on Thursday described Trump pressing Ukraine to open two politically motivated investigations, including into a 2020 Russian presidential rival, and called it a threat to the country and one that warrants action. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And the Republicans immediately blasted the move. White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham tweeted that Democrats should be ashamed by this decision while insisting Trump had done nothing wrong. This is what Grisham wrote. Trump has done nothing but lead our country, resulting in a booming economy, more jobs, and stronger military, to name just a few of his major accomplishments. We look forward to a fair trial in the Senate. I think we will, because the Republicans are holding the Senate, right? And this is what Trump tweeted out. The do-nothing Democrats had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. They have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country. And Nancy Pelosi, she snapped at a reporter after question about hating Trump. A reporter asked Nancy Pelosi today, do you just hate Trump? Do you hate the president? And this is what Pelosi said. I don't hate anybody. And then she wagged her finger and pointed at the reporter. I think the reporter's name is Rosen. And she said, as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love and always pray for the president. And I still pray for the president. And I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that. Do you feel like she's really praying for the president, or she wants him to be impeached? Let's just see. And this is what Trump tweeted. Nancy Pelosi just had a nervous fit. She hates that we will soon have 182 great new judges and so much more, stock market and employment records. She says she prays for the president. I don't believe her. Not even close. Help the homeless in your district, Nancy. USMCA, meaning United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. It's still sitting on her desk. She's not signing it, which is a disgrace for the nation. Okay, let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. Okay, Trump tweeted this, the do-nothing, I think I just read this. The do-nothing Democrats had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. They have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country. But nothing matters to them. They have gone crazy. Therefore, I say, if you are going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair, let's move on, trial in the Senate, and so that our country can get back to business. We will have Schiff, the Bidens, Pelosi, and many more testify, and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. I was elected to clean the swamp, and that's what I am doing. Let's move on. Mike Johnson tweeted this, I just obtained unanimous consent to enter this into the record. So Melania Trump tweeted this, a minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Karlan, she was a professor, by the way, who was making fun of Trump's son, Barron Trump. I mean, these people, they don't have any decency, any dignity. I mean, it's just horrible, the words that they just use, even to mention, even to talk about, Trump's minor son. He's still, I think, under 15 years old, right? And to make fun of him like that, I just don't understand. So Melania Trump tweeted this: a minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Carlin, you should be ashamed of your very angry and obviously biased public pandering and using a child to do it. Let's move on. House Republicans tweeted this: House Democrats continue to waste the American people's time with their impeachment sham. Passing USMCA. Now, secure our border, lowering drug prices, addressing our crumbling infrastructure. They're not doing any of that. Impeachment is their only priority. Let's move on. Representative Doug Collins, Turley to Congress. If you impeach a president, if you make a high crime and misdemeanor out of going to the courts, it is an abuse of power. It's your abuse of power. You are doing precisely what you're criticizing the president for doing. Let's move on. Buck Sexton tweeted this: how many lib truth to power journos have admitted publicly that Hunter Biden getting $50,000 a month from Burisma was wrong? Notice how they say no evidence of wrongdoing. That is false. It was clearly unethical. We just don't know yet if anything Biden did was illegal. Let's move on. Sarah Carter tweeted this: Speaker Pelosi is giving us a lesson in impeachment. Frustrating. Oh, here she goes while I'm typing this. Wait, she's still talking and she's touting the 3 biased witnesses at the hearing yesterday? Let's move on. Ronald McDaniel, GOP chairwoman, tweeted this: the founders began the Constitution with we the people for a reason. Pelosi wants to negate the votes of 63 million Americans, all while denying Trump due process. It is the ultimate abuse of power, and all the more reason why Republicans must take back the House in 2020. Let's move on. Pete Hegseth from Fox News tweeted this: they let their hate for Trump get the best out of them. The Democrats will regret this, but for now, have a laugh. Speaker Pelosi just made President Trump's re-election even more certain. Let's move on. Hogan Gidley tweeted this: media bias is real. It's wrong. It's dangerous, and it must be called out. It must be called out and exposed. Here are 4 New York Times headlines and 6 clear, egregious examples of bias. Can you spot more? Keep in mind, these are just the headlines. We didn't even post all examples in the articles, and these are all the examples that he pointed out with red letters. Let's move on. Sarah Carter tweeted this: can you do this in socialism? In 2016, Barack Obama said, Michelle and I, we did not finish paying off our student loans until about 9 years ago. Yesterday, former Prez bought a $11.7 million house in Martha's Vineyard. Obama's are now worth 40 plus times more than 2008. Something wrong, right? Let's move on. Okay, Ronald McDaniel tweeted this: Steny Hoyer, Pelosi's number 2, just invoked the Russia investigation as a basis for impeaching Trump now. Are you kidding me? They lied for 2 years about collusion and POTUS was exonerated. Bottom line, the hearings backfired and they are grasping at straws. Well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right. It's about right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest video, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.